But no, we play a lot of Overwatch. We watch a lot of Overwatch League, and it just sounded
Nice.
like fun to get some coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's
Sick.
kind of,
Sick.
yep.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good. How long have you been playing?
Um, oof. I played a little bit of Overwatch 1 and then
Mm.
stopped and maybe like heavily for the past like year and a half-ish.
Okay. Okay. What
Kind of
got
like
you into
back
the
and
game
forth otherwise.
initially?
Um, just something that was fun. I used to play a lot of Call of Duty. And it was another
Nice.
shooter game that my friends played, and it was free. So during the time, especially Overwatch 1, just budget and
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I got you. I got you. So I'm seeing here, is this Brigitte that you play?
Yes.
Nice. Now, how long has that been the case? Has that always been the case? Has that changed? If so, why?
Not always the case. I think when I first started playing a lot of Overwatch, my main was Kiriko,
Mm-hmm.
when she came out, and then I at some point switched to Brig, a lot more fun. So that's what I've been sticking with these days.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I like Brig. I think she's really underrated. She's probably my third most favorite support. Um, I'm curious why you find her fun, especially when you kind of hinted at a comparison between Kiriko. You found Brig to be more engaging. Why is that?
Yeah, I think my play style definitely matches more where any game I play, I really like being like in melee and whacking
Yeah,
things, so that kind of thing.
yeah,
I also like that it's more like the character role play of like the protector and
yeah, yeah,
helping
yeah.
my friends. I really like that aspect too.
Yeah, makes sense. I think she's really fun. I actually think she's really hard too. Maybe not so much in Overwatch 1, especially near her release. I'm sure you've heard horror stories. But
Yes.
I think nowadays, especially, I think that she's a very difficult support. There's a lot of creativity and obviously a very clear understanding of the fundamentals of what you're supposed to do with the character as well. So we'll be taking a look at all those things here. At the time
Awesome.
of the form, you were gold. Is that still the case?
Yes.
Gold 4 specifically.
Okay, so I peaked the season at Plat 3.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, which is awesome. And then I had a really bad day where I wanted to play and I just kept losing, and I went all the way back down. So right now I'm sitting at gold 3 again.
Still.
Um,
I
yeah,
mean, you're never
it's
as
just
good
one
as
of
your
those days
peak.
where I wanted to play. I'm like, I should probably
Yeah,
stop, but yeah, I
yeah.
just went
Well, I
into
mean,
a
if you
losing
want to
streak.
play, I mean, there's no reason not to play. Like
Yeah,
ultimately, it's
yeah,
fine.
I
And,
just
and
killed the rank.
yeah, yeah, but you're never as bad as your value. You're never as good as your peak. So it is what it is. You'll climb back up again, I'm sure. So I guess
Sure.
like ignoring the fact that you hit plat 3. Let's say that you were playing at like a platinum 5 skill level and got a little lucky.
Mhm.
Okay,
Sure.
let's break down now. Why do you think you improved to that? Like, what about your gameplay, to your knowledge, or to your understanding, improved?
Honestly, because when I signed up for this coaching, I started watching your Brig videos and I
Ah,
thought that was
okay,
very helpful.
sure.
And I really liked, I think it was someone else, I forgot who you were telling about more like control of the map and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
placement. And so I started looking more at that while I was playing in preparation
Yeah.
for, for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Makes sense.
yeah, so I think that definitely helped. Admittedly, I do play with my husband, who's a lot better, so it could
Sure.
be a combination of like he's really good at DPSing. So I do struggle. I feel like I lose a lot more when I'm by myself, and I
Could be.
don't know. I mean, I guess that would be a representation of maybe I'm not as good as I think because we win more when he's with me versus when I'm by
Yeah,
myself.
could be, could be. I mean, you need like a statistical good sample size there. There might also be
Yeah.
some things like where maybe you put a little bit more pressure on yourself when you're by yourself, so you're more likely to be a little bit more volatile in your gameplay. I mean, the way the matchmaker works is that the higher ranked player may not necessarily be boosting the lower ranked player. It may be actually be vice versa. Because if you think about
Mhm.
it, if you go into a lobby and let's say you were to queue with your husband right now, gold 3.
Yeah.
You're probably not gold 3. You're probably gold 2, gold 1, right? So you go in there and it places you versus another gold 3 support. Well, the chances are you're probably going to outperform that support by a tiny little bit, right? So you might be boosting your husband at this point in time, which is pretty funny. So, I mean, it is what it is. You guys duo, you guys
Sure.
have a good time. I honestly, TLDRs, I wouldn't really worry too much about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the best thing you could do is at least get a certain percentage of your game solo queue to kind of find your quote unquote true rank so that you're going to be
Yep.
able to you won't be boosting him and he won't be boosting you, just to kind of recalibrate as things go along. But ultimately, it's just a game. I wouldn't sweat it too much.
Yep. That's
uh
true.
okay, so you talked about controlling space more. I'm like, you're kind of thinking on those things. What aspects have kind of stuck with you and felt like they've rewarded you? And are there any aspects that just either you didn't understand or didn't feel like they worked super well? Obviously, there's a lot of ideas that probably kind of got thrown in, but what things stuck and what things just didn't work?
Yeah, so I think what stuck was just learning the map a little bit better too. So then knowing where the enemy team could come. So just standing in a place where maybe even if they're going down main, I know that they could also go around the side. So I'm gonna kind of place myself on that corner so then I can just peek and make sure that no one's coming in and kind of boop and warn my team.
Yeah, makes
So
sense.
I think that has been working really good. I think the challenge that I have sometimes is maybe my placement is a little bit too far away from my team. So then I'm like, oh crap, now I'm spending time kind of walking back while my team's just getting annihilated. So just being a little bit closer while doing the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so basically you're good at starting to control, we'll say, close angles, right? Like little spaces on the left, little spaces on the right, denying space. But sometimes you get a little bit too on your own, like you're a little too far, maybe get a little bit isolated, get a little bit split, and you want to find some balance there. Yeah, I mean, that's always a tricky thing. As soon as you open Pandora's box of off angles, things can become a little bit more complicated before they get a little bit easier, right? And so, because there's so much more of the map, so many new ideas you're kind of confronted with, and along the way, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So I think that's kind of something that we not only accept, but try to just completely embrace. Because, I mean, the trope of you got to screw up to learn, I mean, it's really true. It's absolutely true. So a lot of good brig play is taking risks, not just because, you got to play risky and carry, but because you have to kind of learn your limits depending on the situation. So let's take a look here. Sleep looks good. I'm a very open-minded person, so take criticism very well since it's just a game, so please be critical so get real feedback and so on. Okay, so I can call you a moron basically every 35 seconds. Perfect. All right. Playtime at the time of the form was around 3 times a week for longer sessions. Is that still usually the case?
So actually, I wish that there was more availability earlier because I did kind of drop off. I was binging Aviatic Factor, so that happens, and then I come back and I'm kind of rusty at the moment.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, that's again the nature of a game. It's like even if you get coaching, it's still a game. It's not your job. So, I mean, you've probably heard me talk about this in other sessions, but the basic framework for optimal gameplay would be a couple hours almost every day. Now, you're not going to be doing that. Likely. So, but you could basically use that as a framework of like, okay, right now I'm enjoying Overwatch, I'm motivated to play it so many hours. So could I spread those hours out over so many days? Do I even have the time to do that? Does that fit my schedule? For you, it'd be like, okay, right now, like realistically, I'm only playing twice a week for like 1 or 2 hours. I mean, that's fine. Sure. Could you make it 3 times a week? And could you even cut it down to like an hour and a half? That would be better. So just basically like what your motivation and what your availability is and finding the best possible version of your training schedule. It's not optimizing it to an unrealistic standard because you're not going for Grandmaster. We're just trying to find what value can you squeeze out of what you're doing right now. Okay. Short-term goals would be identifying areas I can improve on as support on Brigitte, but long-term practice in other characters so I can get better and more comfortable switching for the team needs. I will switch, but I don't have nearly as much practice on other characters. I keep it's a really good one character. Okay, so
sometimes they'll be like, go Anna. I'm like, I don't know how to play Anna. I'm going to be terrible at it. And I understand why people would want me to switch, but that's kind of where I also struggle is just not as much practice.
The way to look at it would be more like, does the map provide to me those angles that I'm liking? Does the map not provide to me those angles? In which case, that another character would probably be optimal. But ultimately, again, everything kind of comes back down to what is my current availability? What is my current interest? And you have to ask yourself, do I really want to play Anna? Do I want to go back and play Kiri? Am I just really having a great time one-turking Brigitte? Because I do think there are very few circumstances where Brig is completely bad. Like, I'm trying to think here. So, like, maybe, like, I'm not sure how familiar you are with, like, the Busan map, for example, but, like, a Busan Sanctuary, they're on Pharmacy and Junkrat and Kiri and, like, Roadhog, and, like, there's, like, nothing that you can flank on. You can't contest any of the DPS. Like, that's a super big map. Like, but we really have to kind of stretch it. Brig is fairly flexible here. So, again, everything revolves around what do you want to do? Do you want to learn on it because you think she's fun? Okay, great. do it. Pick it up in quick play or get an alt account, get it to around gold 3 or 4 to where it's competitive with your current rank, and then pick it up in your main, just so you're not getting dumpstered and getting discouraged, right? Do you want to learn Zen? Do you want to learn Mercy? Do you want to learn more? Like literally anything that you want to do, and don't let your gold teammates sway you otherwise. Okay. Diamond 3 one-trick ball player. Learn to be a better brig. Playing with ball, we have no front line. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, you don't play with ball really any different than you play with any other tank, right? Like, there's very few circumstances with Brigitte where you should be establishing a quote-unquote front line. The front line will be a void, right? In which case you kind of play surround and deny their DPS and maybe deny their tank too, but ultimately, like, you play the exact same way.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't sweat it too much.
Just wasn't sure what that, because my husband does a lot of ball and.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's some details like we could sweat over, but honestly, like those details aren't super important. You just need to play the best brig that you possibly can. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? And obviously, some of this may be a little bit outdated, so keep me updated. Sometimes you said the map, just knowing my way around for shortcuts to get back to my team is sometimes a struggle. You kind of talked about that being something that you've improved on a little bit.
Yes.
Excellent.
Definitely a improvement. Sometimes I'll still get kind of turned around, like, which way do I have to go? Because I'll find myself, wow, I really went the long way to get back right now.
Yeah. I get it. It happens, especially with all these flashpoint maps and stuff. There's just so many things. Okay. Also, maybe getting caught up in focusing as Sombra too much as she's running instead of going back to my own team to heal. It happens. Like, finding the value of, like, clearing that DPS out versus, okay, this is, like, I'm going to be gone for 3 hours. Maybe this wasn't worth it.
Yep.
I also get bloodthirsty, and I need to do better knowing when to turn back and stop engaging. Yeah, I mean, similar to the Sombra issue, right? But, again, it's not a bad thing. It's about channeling it in the right way. Okay, any other questions or any other, I guess, things that have come up since you filled that out?
No, I think that's really it. Even today I've been playing a lot ahead of this, and
nice.
I just find myself like, wow, I really shouldn't have ran in right now. And
there's that self-awareness. There's that self-awareness, especially when it results in your death, and you're like, this is so stupid. But ultimately, as we already said, we ultimately taking risks and trying new things is kind of what we want. So send me whatever you want, whatever code you want to look at, and we'll get started here.
All right. So a bunch of stuff that got pinned. I guess there was a patch, so I had to repin stuff from today, but at least it's today stuff. I wrote notes because I wasn't actually sure like which one. So I have like a close game where I think I had some good plays and bad plays. We went in overtime.
Okay.
That's an example. Another one I have is I wrote good ball boops.
Nice.
To stop the enemy ball from getting momentum there.
Yeah.
Another like one where I feel like I did pretty good. And then this one is a loss, and I wrote struggled with this one, went in when I shouldn't have a few times. So I don't know what's better, like the good ones, the even ones.
Let's do this. Bad ones. Let's do this. So I obviously the first thing is like a recent game, but you've checked that off the list for all of these really. The other one I would say is wherever you felt like you had questions, whether you won, whether you played well, or whether you didn't play well, whether it was like maybe a lack of clarity. And honestly, I think there's a pretty good chance, depending on how quick we go here, we could get like a code and a half. I mean, we might be able to get answer a couple of fights and move on from there. It's up to you. It's really up to you.
Let's do the one where I just failed, because I think that would probably be the most helpful.
Okay, sure.
All right, so it's T as in Tom, 6, Y, M as in Mike, C, F as in Frank.
Got it. Okay. And obviously, if there's anything in here where you're like, hey, I normally don't do this, we'll consider that here. We won't,
No,
again,
it's fine.
We'll do our best to not call you moronic too much here, but we're going to look mostly for stuff of like consistent habits that you seem to have, whether they're both good or bad.
Sure.
And then specifically any questions that you had. So you chose this one because you felt like you didn't play well. But was there also moments in this code, or maybe even the matchups, where you didn't really know what to do, where to stand, how to play? Anything come to mind here?
Nothing comes to mind. I mean, these were from this morning, so I didn't get a chance to do the replays.
That's fine. Okay, let's take a look here. Is this cardboard brig?
It is.
This is great. Love it. Okay. So Brigitte is, to your understanding, what? Like, what makes her unique compared to other supports? What can she do better than other supports? What is she worse at compared to other supports? Just give me a basic crash course.
So in my opinion, the I like that I could still heal from a range, so I don't agree when people say she's just melee because, sometimes high ground is good. I like that she could control space and boot people away to stop either ball momentum or just getting people away from other people. I like that she peels, so that's one thing I gotta get better at. But I like if there's like, say, a tracer or a sombra, that's like my job. I'm like, all right, I got this. so
Yeah, yeah,
so I
yeah, yeah.
like that I become kind of like the protector peeler. And I think what makes her a little bit different is she's not just sit there healing, keeping people alive, but more like a true support where it's
Yeah.
not about just heals, but it's about um, helping with controlling space and keeping people away
Yep.
and, interrupting is a big one. So I like to try and save my ults to try and get interrupts on other
Sure.
things. So
Nailed it. Good stuff. I love the emphasis on both controlling space and healing from range because, to be honest with you, that's what Brigitte is. And when you think about what makes Brigitte unique, I think it is just that right there. Like, there's a lot of the supports that can heal from range a lot better. There's also a lot of supports that can support or control space. Maybe not better than Brig, but as good as Brig. So, like, for example, we could put a Lucio in this corner here, and he could deny
yeah,
this angle basically just as good as you can, right?
yeah,
But the difference between Lucio is if he's here, he can't heal over here or up there, or he can't pack here, he can't pack there. Whereas you can control space and heal somebody from afar. So the
yeah,
big thing with Brigitte is you want to put yourself on an angle or a position where you can maybe deny the enemy team from getting on that angle. Or maybe you can go in and hit them, right? But also having a sight line generally to where you can help somebody that's not on that position, if that makes sense. So like if you look at
yeah.
this right here, you are making sure that nobody comes up here, right? Now, if they send two people, or maybe they send a tank, you can inconvenience them. You can't really stop them. That's fine. But you can also heal people with your packs from this position too. So you're kind of thinking about a Brigitte as this is my angle, this is my spot, and I'm helping other spot too. That's kind of all it is with Brig.
Yep.
So, okay, let's take a look here. Any questions before we get started?
I jumped down after all that, but no.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's a good call because does this space matter with where your team is positioned right now?
Yeah, no, they're kind of far.
Right.
So I was like, let me get
Right.
up.
So, I mean, all of your angles are always decided with where's my team fighting. So this angle is meaningless because no one's going to be taking this position because they're going to be killing my team here. So I need to go find a space here. So this is good. A little pack there. It's fine.
Yeah,
Little pack
that's
there.
one thing I've noticed is sometimes I'll pack when a pack isn't needed, and I gotta do a
Sure.
little bit better saving the resources.
Yeah, I think there's like some nuance there. So one little rule you can have for yourself is it's okay to pre-pack one person if it's your first pack, if a fight's about to start.
Yep.
Because if you think about heal over time, right? Useful, very useful, right? And you might as well use the pack because you'll start recharging the next one anyway. So what I would do is if I were to nitpick your pack usage here, I like this pack because I know that person could use it, right? And they will be using it, and it's your first pack. What I don't love is that pack
Yep.
there.
That second. Yep.
Right.
You cannot escape me.
Don't mind you being here. You're kind of controlling space here, thinking about space there. Pack her. And I wouldn't mind you walking forward just a wee bit, hitting your whip, and just
Okay.
kind of backing out as necessary. You can always kind of use your shield resource, use the fact that you have bash to control space in that back. And see, this is kind of what we're talking about, right? Like, you can't kill Hog.
Yep.
You can't beat Hog in a 1v1. But Hog really wants to peek through here and get a hook or to shoot, but you just say no. And not only do you say no, but you proc your inspire. Now you missed it here, which is whatever.
Yes.
But I mean, but like the theory of what you're doing is fine. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna kind of let things roll here. I like that pack too.
I also got 37-year-old fingers, so.
Yeah, I mean,
not
yeah,
very
that's
fast.
fine. That's trust me. I've been called a boomer for 7 years. I mean, you get in the esports world, and if you're over the age of 20, like you are
Yep.
age decrepit. So no, that's fine. The good news for you is that reaction speed, to my knowledge, doesn't decrease to a significant amount until you're like 55, 60. Like literally,
Yeah, well, that's
it does
good.
decrease, but it's not to a noticeable amount. It'd be like playing on like 5 extra latency at this point in time. It's
Yep.
almost meaningless. So
That's
I like
fair.
this here. And this is the really interesting moment here. So You put your attention on hitting a whip shot here on the Sombra. Yep, that's fine.
Yep.
But once you realize that, okay, I missed it, she's too far away. Remember, where's your angle that you've decided to control here?
Well, yep, that kind of like little space in the house.
Yeah. You've kind of chosen left side, right? So whatever you do is left side. So if this Roadhog comes in left side and hooks your team, that's your fault.
Yep.
That's your fault. If that Tracer comes through, there's the sauce, right? Because that's exactly what happens.
Yep.
So what I want you to think about here is I want you to think, okay, I missed the whip on the Sombra, but this isn't my responsibility anymore. I could pack this if I want to, but my team will handle this. My Sombra will handle this. I got to worry about this.
Yep.
I got to worry about this. I got to check to make sure nobody's coming through. Because actually, this is exactly what almost kills you, right?
Yep.
So I want you to keep your attention on whatever side that you want. And ultimately, like, that's criminal right there.
Yeah.
That's criminal. Now, I will say,
I knew they were there somewhere. Couldn't find them.
yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing. I'm not saying it's criminal that you didn't find her. I think that honestly, she blinked really well. Like let's look at this here. She blinks here. She melees. She blinks around. You're like, where is she? Blinks again. I mean, it's actually pretty well played by her, all things considered. So we could say, oh, awareness, yada yada yada, mouse control. Sure, I guess. But the fact that you got clipped to this before you could even respond, and see, this is the problem. When you're 89 HP, you don't have an active Inspire, and there's a Tracer on you. You're definitely freaking out, right? Yep. So. No wonder your awareness went down the tank, because you're freaking out. Like, this is not exactly a calm, oh yeah, Tracer's here. No, you're freaking out. So what put you in that position? And that was, for lack of a better term,
to that space I was trying to
right, exactly. So you've heard of object permanence, right? This is not object permanence. This is angle permanence, right? This is your position. This is your lane, and you forgot about it, and so then you die to whatever is on the position. So whatever side that you choose, whatever you look at, like, I can control this space, I control that space. Okay, well, that's your responsibility. Sure. Revenge. Yes. Get her. Yeah, sure. It's always risky to bash in, but like that was a very calculated risk, so good job. And now, where's your angle?
My angle's just safety.
Well, yeah, but you and I both know your attention's going to be prioritized in a certain section of the map right now. Where is that section?
Yep, that's going to be that left side.
That's the left side. And so I'm going to repeat, that is your responsibility. So I'm not asking you to go in now. I'm asking you to don't die, first off, like you said.
Yep.
But then put pressure there. Don't let that Sombra Tracer walk out without feeling a little bit awkward. You've done a pretty good job on the Tracer now. Can you do the same thing to Sombra?
Yep.
You change to a different angle. I don't hate it. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with this. This is good. If you want to go to a different side. Yep, good stuff.
Yeah, and
yeah, the mistake.
I die here.
Well, yeah, see, this is just poor. I'm trying to think of the good way of putting this. Poor dueling mechanics, right? And by that, I mean, you did your job here. Respect. Now what?
Yep.
What should you do now?
Die quickly.
Or, I mean, this fight is technically still winnable. Technically here. So what do you do? Look at your resource. Look at your shield. Look at your HP. What do you got?
Nothing.
Right. But will you have enough here to live at least another 2 or 3 seconds? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to shield. I want you to shield. And shield. And if you're going to die in a blaze of glory, right? This is just pathetic.
Yep.
All right. I like the angle push, by the way. I love the rotation, and I also love what you did to both the Tracer and the Sombra. Nice job. That's that kind of proactivity, that support mindset that you had. But ultimately, I think, losing angle permanence, and then, like right here, like, just stay locked in. Stay on that Tracer. Don't die. Good. Okay. Where is your... This is something I've used with other Brigitte coaching sessions. Where is your anchor right now? Where is your position where you can help hold space without dying?
I would say I have none right now.
Right, that's correct. But where could it be?
Probably where that Christmas person is. Just because you have, right here.
Right here? Why?
They're coming from ahead and then to the left.
Yeah. Think about it from a selfish perspective. Do you feel confident with this cover and with this position here that you could live for a long time and help people without dying?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Why? What about this position is something that's attractive to you?
Well, you got the wall.
Mm-hmm.
There, the cart's not even close, so they got
Yep.
a little bit of ways to go, and there's still two people in front of me.
Sure. So there's a teammate here. There's cover. You've got some sightlines. It's not completely out in the open, right? If they do come after you, you've got bash, and yeah. So that's it. So.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really the same kind of reasons why you liked the angle here, is that you had sightlines and a teammate, you had some cover, it's fine. I mean, same thing when you were even here. You had like sightlines and a teammate, you had cover, right? That's ultimately when you're looking for what space or what angle to take, you got to ask yourself, where's my team fighting? Where can I find a little angle with, a little bit of cover, right? You're not a Zenyatta, okay? Let's be honest, okay? So or Nana for that matter. So when you do a rotation like this doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe if there is a dive tank that's going to dive you on top or whatever. But why does this not make sense?
Well, now there's people that were in that little house to the left I can't get to, and the team fight's not really here at the moment.
Yep. Team fight's not here. Not giving you pack people. Yes.
Yep.
But remember the other half. What's the anchor, right? Where am I holding space? Is there anybody actively pushing or fighting here?
Right, no.
No, so it's kind of similar to the call that you made here, where it's like, in theory, this can work, but I recognize where my team is fighting, and this doesn't make any sense. And so then you drop, and I was like, hey, that was good. Well, now you're going to have to make that same decision here.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And you're going to need to drop, because ultimately, you can stare at the moon and the stars all you want, but they're not coming to you. You're going to come to them.
Yep.
And I think this is where things even get a little bit messy, because why do I not like this space as much as left? What's different about this position here? Let's start with architecture. Okay.
Yep.
What's different?
Well, I mean, it's going right down main when
Sure.
that's not where the group was.
Sure.
Again, it goes back to that. I got bloodthirsty, so I'm chasing that Sombra when there's a bunch of teammates with her.
Right. But from an architecture standpoint, what's different about this particular spot on the map and where we liked here? What's different?
There's no place to kind of like poke back in.
Yes,
if you're
that's
in
it.
trouble.
That's it. And that's the big thing with Brigitte is you talk about like, this Roadhog weapon, this BAP weapon, like this range, you could feel it. It feels uncomfortable, right?
Yep.
It feels exposed. It feels naked. And it is, right? So here's the thing. Here's what I want you to do. This is a moment where I think you realize that, crud, we're losing this fight. I should have been doing something. So what you do in those moments is you take a quick second, you answer two questions. Where's my team fighting? And what space feels comfortable for me? Provides cover or whatever. So you don't worry about chasing targets or chasing one-to-ones. You go, you know what? This area feels pretty good. This area right here feels pretty good. Or this area right here feels pretty good or whatever.
Yep.
And you know what? Look what happens. Value presents itself. Now, if there's nobody here, like let's say the Tracer plays on main, well, then you could do silly stuff like this. Or you could do silly stuff like maybe even play, if you're going to play here, play it from here, right?
Right.
So instead of chasing a target because mid-fight you felt like you weren't doing anything, instead ask yourself, where can I be setting up? And the value will present itself to you.
My will.
Okay. Walking forward with their team. I mean, there's a little bit of confusion about where to go right now, but you are being very responsive to what your team is doing. I like that. It's really good. Sure. Now, I'm not going to lie with you and say that this feels super comfortable, okay?
Nope.
This feels pretty risky, but I will say at least there's cover.
Yep.
Right? At least there's cover, and there are people here. So I don't love this position because it doesn't really feel like there's anywhere for you to go if things go south. If I asked where you would go, it's probably a similar position as before. But to be honest with you, there is a teammate here. There's cover here. Sure.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot worse positions to be right now, and you are going to provide value unique to Brigitte here because I don't know a lot of other supports that could hold this position. Maybe Lucio, right? This is okay.
Yeah. And
you notice that you're even getting packs. Right? So you're even getting packs in here. I respect the mindset here, but yeah.
Yep. Again, that was me. Like, oh, there's that Sombra. Go get her.
Yeah. Now let's talk about why that was potentially risky, because the important answer is not the obvious one. The obvious one is
crossed in front of their entire
you're a wizard.
team. Yeah.
You're a wizard. That's genius. Okay, I was not expecting you to nail that one, but you did.
Yeah,
Well done.
I have the tendency mid-fight knowing like, I know I'm going in front of the battle trying to get to the other side, and I'll shield bash to get across.
And that's it. So at least you shield bash, right? At least you shield bash. I'd rather that than walking, because at least it cuts the time. But right, the idea is, again, this should sound vaguely familiar. When you were here and I was like, stop looking at the Sombra you missed the whip shot on, focus and control the space, right?
Yep.
You are here, don't put your mind or your body over here unless you absolutely have to, right? Think about how you rotated from here. Remember this? The difference with here is that you rotated behind and in cover, and you changed your angle here. This was risky that you gave up. This one here, if we look at this from the their perspective, check this out, right? Like that you should just be dead. You should just absolutely be dead. Now, I will say, again, I do like the fact that you bashed, and I do like the fact that you got close to something that doesn't want to get close to you. So there are a lot worse things you could have done there. I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
It's plus one.
Yep.
It happens. Okay. But we're seeing little tidbits of why you hit plat. There's just like a general propensity to kind of contribute. A general propensity to contribute, not necessarily directly on top of the tank, which is also really good. And so, yeah, I mean, there's as much bad as there is. There's also a lot of good. And to be honest with you, if we're strictly objective about this, you did reach a rank that puts you above the average player. So well done. Obviously, here this is not really your fault. This is just your team getting staggered. So it's fine. Okay, let's keep going here. Any questions so far?
No, this is great.
Okay, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on when you're not sure, decisively taking a position that makes sense for you, and trying to avoid crossing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So wherever you want to go, like right now, if you want to play up top, okay, if you want to control the space here because it's nice and congested, it's fine. Let's see what you do. I know you're worried about cart right now, which is fair.
Yeah. There was
fine.
a tracer,
That's all right.
Sombras, and like.
Works for me. But this is where I was going to say, like, I wouldn't worry as much about cart at some point. At some point, you got to think about, like, what am I going to do to help contribute this fight here? So let's set the stage. Ignore the red outlines because obviously that's cheating. We wouldn't know exactly.
Sure.
You would know where tracer is. You'd probably have a guess. But where is your... Ignore angles for just a moment here because it all gets very confusing. What's a good position where you could contribute with cover?
Mostly where that Zarya is right now, I think, just
it.
because it has that coverage and it's two sides.
Yep, you nailed it, right? There's cover here. You can assist in this. Again, asking yourself how many supports could hold here confidently versus Sombra and Tracer and Roadhog. Not many, right? This is good. This is playing to your strengths. Now, you could also play, if you wanted to flip the script here to the other side of the map, where else could you be here? Solo, but where else could you be? This is going to take a little bit of creativity here.
I guess like the top where I jumped down from, like on that top bridge here.
Yeah, you could.
Mostly because you have the corner, and then you could still pack where
you have a little bit of
Zarya
cover.
is.
Yeah, I agree. I want you to go even sillier with this one. Check this out. Here.
Oh.
Okay, now let's talk about this. I don't think this is as good as you supporting here, simply because you have a teammate to support you, which obviously makes an angle slightly more attractive, okay? But let's not lie and pretend that this would not provide value. What value would this provide with the information that we have from this position right now?
Mostly so the Sombra or Tracer doesn't sneak to the cart because everyone else is on the other side.
Or to sneak to anywhere from this position. You control this space, you make it awkward and difficult, okay? Now, it's not just about Sombra and Tracer, though. Now, again, you could do this because it is congested, right? This is our architecture check, right? Okay, I like this. This is good. I can live with this, right? Okay, so what else? Look at this from the Baptiste perspective. What does this guy want to do here?
No idea.
Well, let's just put you in his shoes. You're here shooting stuff and healing stuff, and you see a brig here.
Yep.
Kind of sits in the back of your mind, doesn't it? Right? You got to wonder, do I want to walk forward here? Like, what do I do? Do I shoot her out? Do I help my Sombra? Like, there's a lurking, almost latent threat there where he's not really confident walking forward. Whereas where you're at right now, there's no concern or fear, right? Like you could go here, whip him off the high ground. This Moira can't walk forward. This is what space means, even in gold. Is it says, I don't want you to take that position. And if you try to, you're going to have to deal with me. That's what it's all about. And the reason that I'm confident you could do this is because this is where your team is fighting, everywhere on our screen. And this is good architecture for you.
Got it.
Now, again, I think like it would be very much a solo play. You would have difficult sightlines to even pack your teammates, but it would still be helpful. Your team would take less damage from Sombra. Your team would take less damage from Moira. Your team would take less damage from Baptiste. That's support.
Yep. That makes sense.
That being said, I think I'm kind of giving you the choice that there are alternative options to kind of force you to think a little bit more. But your initial instincts, to be very clear, were very correct. Very good.
Complete. EMP activated.
Just fine. It just kind of comes down to the same thing. When you're here, you've chosen to control this space. Who's on this space right now?
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So this is your responsibility, right? You know it's a tank, so you're not going to kill him, but you cannot let him get value. You cannot let him poke your Moira. You cannot let him drop and harass. You cannot let him drop without getting whip shot back and with you bashing away. Your job is to just keep him busy, right? It's not because, this isn't, Brigitte has to always deal with Roadhog, but you chose here. So this is your responsibility now, right? And so when you take that position and then the EMP obviously distracts you, understandable, I get it, right? It's an EMP, it's a big deal. But this is really problematic. Because now it's not just, I didn't die. Now my Moira has to pocket me, right? Now my Moira is at risk, right? And that's the big deal. Whatever you say that you're going to do with your body language, you must do. If you control left, you deal left. If you control right, you deal right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Okay. So right now, you're saying, I'm going to support left with your body language. That's the general vibe I'm getting. So but you see how you missed it.
Yep.
So you kind of left, not really. So your Sombra, well, she needs help here, right? You could even pre-pack her here. Now she gets out, but this is your responsibility. You need information here. This is better. This is better. You see how you keep floating back to main here? Floating back to main. So you're late to pocket Sombra. I'm also a little bit concerned with where your attention is because what's to your top right? Do you see his feet? Just barely the little outline right above the Moira's outline up there.
I see him. Yeah.
This is your. you don't have to be here. You could have done something silly here, right? You could have been like the equivalent of what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But that is your responsibility there. You put yourself there. It's your job. So I guess my question for you is, was this worry about cart? Was this a little bit indecision, unfamiliarity with the map? Because we're beating you over the head with a sledgehammer here. But I want to hear your side of the story here.
Yeah, no, I think it's a combination of worrying about cart and also just not wanting to commit and move forward. Just because I have a hard time knowing like when to go more like forward and stay there versus when to come back.
Yeah.
And I think there was just hesitation, like, my Sombra is getting messed up, but if I walk forward, I might get also messed up where
sure.
Get
I
out of there. So I just kind of float.
Yeah, I think you can kind of see what we're asking for, though, is not necessarily you walking forward so much as just holding that corner, holding that good cover, architecture, whatever, and supporting her even just through packs, right? Or the whip shot like you did in the Tracer. That's all we really need here, right? Same kind of thing when we are in here. I'm not asking you to push onto the bat necessarily. I mean, you do have rally. But just to hold that space, keep that attention. I'm not asking you to dive into the backline necessarily, but you can't let the Tracer walk on top of you and two-clip you, right? Like that's or the Roadhog to drop from up top and just hook you for free, right? It's kind of like you have some of the right ideas, but you let your attention drift frequently. And I think drift is the word that we're looking for because it's not like a decisive, it's just kind of like, well, I guess I'll do it. There's no like decisive choice, of like, there's a Roadhog here, but I must deal with this EMP, right? I can live with that. It just almost feels like an accident, right?
Yeah.
So let's see here. I really don't want you to worry about cart as much unless you absolutely are going to get, bat capped or whatever. You need to be contesting space with your team. Where is that space right now?
Well, right now it's up there.
Yep, I agree. I agree. We're not holding close anymore. So they are going to be pushing up top here. Your presence here is unbelievably valuable with Rally and Whip Shot and Inspire. Like, you could even take the Roadhog coming up here if your team's with you, right? You got Rally. You could knock that sucker over and over and over again. You must control space now. You're not here, so I have a prediction here. Your Zarya, I don't think is going to be able to hold this high ground. I think she's going to have to drop. Or she's going to die. Let's find out. I mean, she hasn't received a heal since like 1964, right? So in addition to that, let's find out where you found value elsewhere. Was it with proximity? Not really, right? You've had your resources whittled down before the fight even started. Why? Because is this general architecture favorable for you?
Nope.
No, it's just completely in the open, right? It's not so much about like main, because like main might be an angle. If you're like, for example, if your team's here and you hold here, this is main, I guess, but it's still an angle, right? Like it's just, so you just choose your side, right? But the problem is right now, I don't like that architecture. It sucks. Now you can't help double pulse bomb, but actually, you know, I'm really curious, where did that pulse bomb go? I felt like pulse bomb might have been an accident. Hang on, I have a prediction here. I'm curious. Oh my gosh. Do you want to see something wild? No. I knew something was off. Something was wrong. Okay, check this out. So she misses the pulse bomb on your Zarya.
Yep.
It falls to the floor. Your Venture, Moira backing off.
Yep.
Both walk into it. You can't make that up. So I can't believe it. Oh my days. All right. I mean, I like this position here. This is good position, good cover, good proximity. I don't think you win this fight, but let's see what you do. Good try with the whip, using cover. It's fine. It's fine. I mean,
yeah,
it's
this game's probably the worst like whip shot hitting I've ever had.
Yeah, but remember,
we're land them a lot better.
Yeah, I guess, but again, we're not really worrying as much about it. I'm not seeing any crazy, weird mechanical tweaks with that. Some people kind of tend to twitch before they do it. I don't see that as much with you. You know, it's just practice makes perfect, patience and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, even the best Brigitte in the world miss whip shot. So, you know, whatever, it happens. Go next.
Fair.
Okay, so architecture diff, right? So where are we fighting here? Probably going to be where? If you were to put my camera anywhere here, where do you think this team fight is probably going to happen approximately? Give me a prediction.
The corner we're looking at right there.
So you think like right here then? Okay, so then architecture here. Are there any spots that you're looking to kind of sniff around? Maybe I can help that or help that. Don't worry about it with marking Tracer or Sombra or Roadhog. That will just happen naturally. What spaces do you think maybe you could control or corners you could control? Not right now, but in the next 10, 15 seconds.
Sure, probably the right side.
Okay.
Mostly because if everyone is on that corner, then I could still exactly see that and then look at the right.
Exactly. So you could start here, right? And then maybe we find a situation where you do your classic of bash across, right? And maybe get to here. Now, let's be honest, this is super risky, right? Very, but there is reward for that. It is close. You can, in theory, live. Let's see what happens. Just don't play here because it's just naked space, essentially.
Yep.
Sure, start here. Okay. I could tell the confusion here, right? I can tell the confusion. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not an easy choice here, but this is what I want you to think, okay? If you're not sure, what should you do? You have two choices here, right or left. Okay?
Yep.
Here with Sombra, it's awkward, but there is cover, and it is an angle. You would pull attention and support your Sombra and support your team and support your tank, distract the enemy team from this position. Not optimal, but it could have worked. Other's choice. We talked about this one already. Hold this position here, but we're fighting forward. I wait for my tank to walk forward. I bash in, and I contest this space here. Okay? Are you going to die here? Maybe. Will you create space? Will you create attention? Will you create an opportunity for your team? Definitely. So the problem here is not the choice that you make, it's the fact that you did not make a choice.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I get it. I want to be very clear. I actually think with where your team is fighting, there is not a good position for you. There's only okay or high risk, high reward position. There's no like, oh, this is the obvious choice. Because everything feels either super like right in the middle or very far away, right? Like this is like a little far, right? But commit. Make your choice. Die with honor, right? So you think about it, but by the time you choose, you're like, oh, we've kind of backed off. I mean, better late than never, though, right? So, I mean, you weren't useless. Let's be very clear. So, okay, good stuff. Let's see here. Where are we fighting? Where are we holding? I don't hate this. If you really marry here, you know, and sit here, you could do a lot of work from here, really make that Roadhog's life miserable. But remember, always the question, you made your bed, lie in it. You took right here, fine, but you got, your attention has to be on right here. It has to be. It cannot get, you could pack here, and then you got to, I'm really scared for you.
Yep.
This is terrifying. This is like, especially with that skin, this is like a horror movie, right? But this is your responsibility. You chose this angle, and you're getting jump scared by your own angle. Like, you know, come on.
Yep.
Oh, no, you died too. Yeah, I thought you hit the whip there.
Yes,
That's unfortunate. But yeah, you could kind of see the position. Like, this is not a situation where you should be like, the tank came on me. I shouldn't have been here. No, you absolutely made a choice here, and I love it. I actually think this is probably the best position you could have held, right? You just can't let this happen to you, right? And I don't think this is a mechanical thing. I think this is where your attention goes. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. But yeah, you should feel good about that angle. Like you could deny that Roadhog quite easily. You will not kill him. We've talked about that. But you'll just be like, nope. Meanwhile, your tank is free, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I like this position from you. This is really good. It's risky, but you got a lot of cover here. You did look what the Sombra did. I don't know if you saw that. I think you did.
System compromised.
You're right. She wanted that, right? That Hog, he wants that. Sombra, she wants that. If you weren't here, she'd be in your backline, right? You're controlling space here. This is great. Now, I don't think you should needed to chase here. I think you could have honestly just kept denying Hog, deny Hog, heal your team. And then if the Sombra goes for you, deal with it. This is where that Bloodthirst comes in. And I don't see the opportunity for Bloodthirst. That being said, you did use the angle here.
I did.
And you did change to the Moira because like, oh, she's close. Let's deal with her. So again, I'm not gonna lie with you here. This is probably not necessary, but this technically is following our Brigitte theory here. So let's see what you do. Get a nice little oh my days.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie with you. I don't hate this.
Everybody.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. You're actually like you're following the theory because look at it. Yes, it took a great bubble from your Zarya, but look at the tank trade HP. You guys are literally all full. Right? And meanwhile, you're just like going gung ho. And the crucial thing is, how did you do it? Like if I'm a bronze Brigitte, I'm like, I never can do this. I just die instantly. But how did you do it? What made it good?
Switching targets, maybe.
Switching targets, but not just that. In fact, not even most importantly that. How did you approach? From where did you approach this? Was it from far away? No.
No.
It's pretty close, right?
Yep.
You didn't even have to bash in, right? It's pretty subtle, right? It's also, that's the other key thing. It was subtle. It was subtle. Mm-hmm. You came in behind. You came in from a close angle, behind, without even having to use a bash, directly onto a Moira. And so Moira's just like, I'm just, wah, right? Like panic, right? And that's exactly it. And in addition to that, okay, the bash in was a little crazy, right? But again, this is value, right? So you use your close angle, not just to deny space, but sometimes you might just want to go in. So, that was the key difference here is that you used your architecture. You chose the right spot. And then you didn't just use the spot, kind of turn your brain off. You actually looked at who was there. You're like, man, there's nobody here. Let's make a play.
Yeah.
And it was good. And the irony is that you then, I know at the stress of mid-fight, of course, so I'm being a little bit facetious and rude here. But this is not the architecture we want.
No.
I mean, it's technically cover, but it's so far away from everybody, right? So, to be honest with you, where should you be? Two choices as always, right?
Yep. Left or right.
Left or right. Both are good architecture. This is good. We could deny Hog. We could maybe even do all sorts of fun things here. Or you could bash out to here, swing on the Sombra a little bit, set up the exact same rally push, but from here, and for the exact same reasons that the previous push worked, this push would work as well.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's the second rally that we've seen. Oh yeah, I guess we could bash Sombra, but man, you're cooked. You are in the open. That shield's gonna be broken. You're gonna be a million miles away. You might get hooked. Even just living here is not a lot of value because it's just the whole Hog looking at you. Mm-hmm. So, disaster, beauty, only seconds apart. That's how it goes. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, let's keep going. They're on Orisa. Free win for you guys. Yes. Now remember, you made a choice here. Out of architecture, this is going to be your best angle to start. Maybe as the angle is good, better, you can rotate top and get nice and close here. But for a start, this is going to be kind of like the de facto space to kind of toy around with, right?
Yeah.
With where your team is fighting. So the key thing is not, is this the right angle to choose? I think you did a great choice here, but are you going to actually focus on what's here? Or are you going to get distracted and killed again?
Right.
Let's see what you do. Sure. Again, go back.
That hook was in case someone was there, and I should have waited.
Well, you should have waited, or you could have just, I don't know, walk and whip from here, right? Pull their attention from here, right? And then obviously if they all back off here, well, then you're going to need to find a different space, but that's why you have shield bash, right?
Yep.
That shield bashing is questionable. Fortified Orisa, Yeah, again, you just kind of get lost in the sauce here. So it's basically like, here's what you're doing is you're checking the proximity box, but the subtlety box, the cover box, no, not.
Yeah.
So you provided value, but it wasn't as juicy as we've seen you be able to provide earlier.
Sure.
Okay. By the way, just for practice sake, let's say you peek here. Let's say you rotate from here, okay? You whip them off. You go back here. You whip that tank back. What do you do from here?
Well, maybe back off and wait for the Zarya to go
back off, right? Let her
forward.
take forward. So Zarya walks forward. Let's say Orisa dies. Now what do you do? Where's your next step?
Maybe go across into that room.
So go across to here, bash across to here, into this congested room here. Yeah, works for me. Yeah. You notice again what happens with your death is that you kind of take a position and you get shot in the back again from the angle. So the Symmetra actually out-angled you, but yeah, looks good to me. I bet if you ever had a really bad map and you're like, man, I don't really know where I could have gone here. I don't really know what I could have done here. I bet if you pulled up the replay viewer, about 80% of the time you could coach yourself through it.
Yeah, that's true.
I bet you could. I think you've done it about 80% of this session alone, which obviously I'm kind of enabling it here and there, but a lot of these you've just kind of straight up told me this is what I should have done, and I'm like, yeah. So I get it's confusing in the moment. That's not a problem with you. It's a problem with everybody. But like even here, right? Like, is this really proximity? Like, I mean, you have cover here, but are you doing anything? What would you do here?
Not really.
What would you do here? Let's go back.
Not so fast. Dodge this.
You see what I'm saying? What could you do?
Yep.
What could you do?
Probably go with my team a little bit more so they're all on the roof and not worry too much about the cart.
Sure. I mean, let's be honest. What Zarya is doing is absolutely clinically insane, right? But I wonder, like, could I have walked here and packed? Could I have whipped this? Maybe if I don't know. Like, it probably don't commit there, but contribute, right?
Yeah.
To be fair, you are using cover well, so that's fine. Would like to see, just like from a mechanical standpoint, just use the whip that you did not come in or whatever. It is more damage, but just a minor thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
But honestly, other than that, I think you're getting value here. Let's be honest. Big problem here is what, though? The biggest problem.
Well, right there, just no coverage.
Yeah, that's it, right? That's it. It's a good play by that Sojourn, to be fair. Like, I think in general, this position isn't on paper bad. You do have cover here. But then you're like, crud, she's using this high ground to shoot down on me? You need to bash to here. You need to get to here. You need to get to here. But, I think that's just as equally a good play from her as it is a bad play from you. And I wouldn't worry as much about that. Let's keep going here. Okay, where is the architecture that I can contribute here? So deal with that. Okay, next step. Next step is to reset, so disregard. Hey, yeah, I can do this. I can do that. I'm not gonna lie with you, mate. The voices are telling me to pop her out. I'm like, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, I honestly think, even though you're down 1 or 2, I think like, Yeah, okay, but that's very nitpicky. I don't think it was a mistake not to pop rally. It was always going to be a risky play, but
Sure.
you know, my own biases are coming in there.
Open fire.
Okay. Proximity. I think I know we're going to rotate. Where should you rotate? From here? Where's your architecture? Where's your cover?
Probably, well, there's that hog in the way. I was gonna say probably through that door again, but not with
be-
the hog.
I actually think it can go there. But you just need to bash. So walk here and then right here and then go to here. Right? You got the right idea. Yeah, let's go. Or maybe if you hit the whip, you're okay.
Yeah.
I like this. This is okay. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, you used a good position and kind of springboarded your aggression from there, so yeah, it's fine. I saw the intention there as well.
Yeah, I couldn't get to him. I'm like,
fine.
all right, be behind us.
What if Brig just had like free flight, like Valk, you know, like Mercy?
Yeah,
That'd be terrifying.
overpower.
Once you get off the cart here, same kind of reason. Like I want you contesting space here if you can, or maybe
Sure.
contesting
Yep.
space here, or checking to see if anybody's coming out this door, something like that. I mean, I like where you ended up bashing too, right? Everyone says, don't bash in. Liars, right?
Yep.
As long as you bash to a location with cover like this, you're like, the Sombra's like looking at you, but she can't see you. And I think that's exactly what I'm talking about here, right?
Yep.
To be honest with you, this is the same mistake though. Do you see what the mistake is here? Where's your bed?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I
So,
left.
so you have to deal with this. You have to, right? Because if you do fall back, not only do you enable these guys to walk forward, but it's also more likely that this is where you're going to get killed, right? Is from
Yep.
that position. So when you go back in, you're like, okay, first off, I don't want to really choose to go with Hog, but also I've allowed those people to do what they want. Now that being said, at least you've gone from proximity to proximity. Like you're smashing one guy to the face, is smashing the other guy to the face. My feedback is finish the job, or at least keep them busy.
Yep.
Like, trust your team to be able to deal with everything else. But you know what? I mean, we just saw the value of the support when you get on top of people, right?
Yeah.
Your team is dumping a lot of resources in you, but you are rewarding them for doing so. So, yeah, I don't. Again, I see the plat here. You know, I see the plat. Where should you be? Where's this fight gonna happen? Where's the architecture?
Yep. That same corner, and I should be where the health pack is.
On which
Or
one?
on the other side where the Sombra is and go
Yeah,
around
yeah.
that corner.
Dude, when you said that with a corner with a health pack, I'm like, yes. Which one? You know, because both kind of check the box here, right? Like in theory, this should be okay.
Yep.
In theory, this should also be okay. Now, Ramantra can be quite a demon to deal with, but if you could bash away and or whip him or both, like it's really bad for him to just use his nemesis form and not hit anything. He will lose
Yep.
every tank trade. So again, it's not a great matchup for you, but it is a skill matchup that you can outplay here. And I just feel sometimes you just kind of babysit backline, where you sit on cart and instead of taking space with your team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's an evolution of probably of where you were, but it's not where I want you to be. Because this is too valuable right here. What you're doing
Yeah.
right now. This is too valuable. This is really good.
EM
Remember, you've made your bed here, so everything here is your responsibility. So. Yep, I like the fact that you didn't just bash into the Ramantra. You kind of like waited your time, see what's available, and then whipped or bashed in on a squishy, more mid-fight. It's smart.
Yep.
You did a good job. And then here, again, you got to make your bed. I think you made your bed a little late here because you're
Yes.
like, Sombra's behind, so I don't want to go, but I could help my Zarya. Oh no, maybe I should help my Zarya. And then as you decide too late, I mean, I don't know how did she miss that? Oh, okay. Well, you just bashed out of a summer range, so there you go.
Yeah.
So again, to be clear, your decision here was good. Just too slow. You just need to either commit. I'm not going to let the summer do anything. I'm going to let my Ana fully
Yep.
focus on my Zarya, or go help your Zarya. Your choice. Because the key thing, the reason why that is, it's the opportunity cost of, oh no, I had to use my bash. Now I'm a
Yep.
lot more at risk.
Very true. Yeah.
Oh my days. Do it. Do it. I think you can win this. I really do. Yeah. Let's go. I love this. Oh, it's unfortunate. It's just like one of those things where like it's a little bit faster, a little bit cleaner, taking a little bit less
Yeah,
damage
if
to
I
finish the
had
target.
popped it faster, I think there's only one other person
It's
up.
all right. It's all right. It happens. It happens.
Sending care your way.
Okay, let's see here. So where's your architecture here?
I mean, I guess, well, right now on this corner, but probably better off where those stairs are across.
Yeah, I think even with your venture dead, there's a good argument once the summer's out that you could bash across here and sit
Yep.
here and hold here. Obviously, if the fight had been up to here and the fight had kind of migrated this way sooner, then maybe you could have held your
Then,
venture
yeah,
here.
right.
Yep. Okay. Just gonna kind of chill here, waiting for our echo. You make the cross. I wouldn't over push here because again, it's
Yeah.
one of those situations where I'm scared of like, what's here, what's happening here. This
Sure,
hammer actually
yeah.
jumps over your head. This is your responsibility here. So kind of control that angle. It's fine, not your responsibility. You see an opportunity, you commit, so you actually cross
Yep.
angles here. But it didn't involve you having to use bash. You just kind of walked here. So
Yep.
I don't hate this. Like you're going to win this HP trade, and then you actually bash across. I mean, mate, this is okay.
I
Like
want to
this,
just be everywhere. That's really
yeah,
what
I
this
mean,
is.
I get it, but at least they're pretty close to each other, so I don't hate this. Like you're moving around, you're using cover, you're controlling space, you're applying pressure. A little bit of bloodlust there.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, this is probably too risky for the reward, just because of Moira,
Yeah.
who's low, and next to a Kiriko. Unless you got Rally here, I don't know if you win this. But again, I don't want to discourage this from you, right? Because this is technically still following the rules. You are getting up close. You were subtle about it. You started from an angle. You're getting massive value. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Let's finish this up. You got time to finish this up?
Yeah.
All right, I told my next session we're gonna run over. That's like the Spilo Classic here. So let's keep going here. Any questions so far?
No.
Do you notice how things go better, even if they get messy, when you just commit from on a side?
Yeah.
A lot of the times, I notice your commitment is usually an offensive choice. Is the problem I'm seeing?
Yeah.
So if we go back here. And we'll think about it from a more defensive perspective. So, like, let's say that you go here and you're like, all right, I'm going to go left side, cross here. Yeah, here. So, when you cross here, that's fine. Pocket, whip, whatever.
Yep.
There's nothing stopping you from just whip-shotting, packing, whip-shotting, packing, whip-shotting, packing, and then at some point maybe going for a commit when you see it. This is very useful for your team. You get inspire value, you get pack value, you get off-angle, denial, control, all that kind of stuff. This is fine. This is also committing. Your tendency is that you generally only really lock in and pay attention to what's going on when it's something to kill,
Yeah. Yep.
right? Which is fine, but what if there is nowhere to push? What if there's nothing to kill?
Right.
Can you still control space? Can you still be valuable? And I think that's going to be your question.
Yep.
That's going to be your question. Because it's really funny how attentive you are and how mechanically aware you are when you're swinging on something and killing it.
Yes.
But otherwise than that, you tend to doubt yourself, you tend to float, you tend to lose perspective of what's going on behind or to the left or to the right. You just kind of, you get tunneled on all the wrong things.
Yep.
So right now, your job is to contribute right. And to contribute right. Where's the next step? Where's the next bit of architecture here?
Probably left around the corner, so there's coverage.
You got it. You got it. Probably would have used my my shield bash to get there, but yes. Good?
Yeah, this is one of those. Why did I go in there?
Yeah. You see,
I think I was
again,
just panicking because we needed to get to the point, and I was like,
there's no rush, though. You
Yeah.
guys got a minute. You got plenty of time.
Yes.
This is one of those moments where, again, we only see you really locked in when you're doing something aggressive, right?
Yeah.
This one, there's not even a question of whether doing something aggressive is tolerable or not. You're completely by yourself. You're ahead of your tank. You're bashing in. Nobody's even close
Right.
to one. I think you got a little bit uncomfortable with the Ramatra Vortex being on you, which is fine. But all you really need to do here is throw your whip, hold the corner. Throw your whip, hold the corner. Wait for an
Yeah.
opportunity. Maybe cross here. Maybe if the Ramatra gets distracted, you could bash up here. But again, like, look at your proximity. Look at the architecture you're playing right now. It's fine. It's good.
Yep.
Makes sense. You got full vision on your Juno, your Sombra. You could pocket your tank. You can whip the Ramatra away. We love it. Just patience, right? Patience.
Yep.
Probably didn't need to double pack that.
Yeah.
Yep. Now don't freaking die to the Sojourn here.
30 seconds remaining.
Do it again if you want to. Sure.
Area denied.
Play your life. So this is, again, the same kind of thing, right? I don't mind this position here, but remember, It's not about targets right now. It's about positions. You could stay here, or you could rotate left.
Yep.
So I understand you see Symmetra. You swing in her a couple times, that's fine. But you can't stay in the open here. You got to find, where's my next cover? Where's my next cover? Where's my next cover? So I think kind of your challenge for you, both aggressively and defensively, is going to be, where's my next cover? Where's my next cover? Where's my next cover? Where's my next rotation? Where's my next cover? Where's playing architecture is kind of the big thing for you. So let's take some notes here. Overall, I want to clarify. I see the plat. I see it. I see the proactivity. I see the windows of opportunity. I even occasionally saw some whip shots, right? That were like, yo, you've kind of opened your third eye here, and you're putting in the aggression, and it's good. It's nice. Keep up the good work, but let's educate that aggression. So how would you phrase it? How would you frame some of the things that you need to practice?
Coverage is really what it comes down to. I definitely keep myself open a lot. Also, not worrying too much about the point and getting to where our team fight is happening. Gotta work on a little bit better on that one. And then commit. So commit. Because that's just half committing is really what's not working.
Commit what? I want you to think back
position.
To commit to the position.
And the controlling space. So if I'm controlling the right side, don't turn my back and let things come through.
It's about committing your attention, really.
Yep.
So when you're on left, you've decided that your job is not necessarily to kill on left, but to do what you do on left. We talked a lot about you control left, you could pack right. That is correct. You can't tunnel on that. But I think at the same time, you don't go left and then take your full attention on right. You take your left and you got to go a lot of left attention, throw a pack on right. A lot of left attention, throw a pack on right. And obviously, there were many times when you take a good angle and to die to somebody on that angle. And it wasn't just the fact that you died, it was the manner with which you died, where it was always almost like an element of surprise. Like, oh, wait, what? Somebody's there? Yeah, that's why you're there. You're there because somebody is going to be there. And so that's your job, right? In terms of micro, well, I would say keep an eye on being thoughtful and strategic with packs. If I was working with a silver player, bronze player, I think I would need to go in more detail. With you, I don't think so. I think the pre-fight pack stuff we talked about already, where it's fine, but then those next two packs, they need to have a lot of thought. There's some logic about holding a pack sometimes. Obviously, packing a squishy better than a tank in terms of raw health pool, but packing a tank when needed is absolutely appropriate. Beyond that, I think you know your stuff, right? I would say you would mostly know your stuff with bash and whipshot. Certainly good enough to compete. Maybe the last thing I'd say, maybe with rally, is
probably just get out faster too.
Yeah. Don't cheat your positioning just because you have rally. So I think using rally to complement what you would have done anyway, or maybe leaning in towards those higher risk, higher reward plays, right? How aggressive you went on towards the end of third point. That's a perfect situation for rally. What I didn't like is the couple of rallies where it kind of felt like you just ended drifting back to card and popping rally to stay alive in the open and then dying anyway. Yeah. Right? It's not good at that. You're slow. The AoE sustain isn't all that good. It's more about the fact that we cannot push her out. Like, for example, if you go in that left angle, Roadhog Moyer hard push you. You pop rally and you just live. And you just live and you live and you live and your team wins the fight elsewhere because you took an extended 2v1 with no support whatsoever. That's kind of rally value. Or we talk about that Reaper 1v1 towards the end of third attack where you kind of didn't bash across, walked across and tried to chase him after Wraith, right? Yep. You pop rally there, you secure that kill, big value. Rally on the third defense. Remember when you snuck around behind the hog and went for the Moira and went crazy, got Zarya bubble? Again, perfect situation for rally there if you'd had rally. It's what takes what you already were doing and just makes it a little bit better. It doesn't change what you do, really.
That makes sense, yeah.
But I think beyond that, I think pretty darn good, just cleaning up some of those details. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, no, this was great. Thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. I want to encourage you, if you do have questions, you can message me. But also, at the same time, if your map feels really bad, and it's not, Farah, Junkrat, Roadhog, there's no backline, then I would pull up the map in the replay viewer, and I wouldn't sit there for an hour. I wouldn't even sit there for 15 minutes. I might sit there for 5 and look at a couple of fights where I'd be like, third person it and be like, where was I? Where could I have gone? Did I take the right angle and just beef it? Or was there a different position where I could have supported my team?
Yep.
And I think like you have enough knowledge to be able to kind of flex your muscles there. And then next time you're confronted with a similar situation, you'll make that decision a little bit faster, because it's obviously not just about making the decisions, but making the decisions on the fly under pressure. That's a whole different story. So
yeah,